I know I've read from this book before, To Bless the Space Between Us by John O'Donohue. I put this book away for a little while and then I take it back out, and it's always just so meaningful. John O'Donohue, if you don't know him, he is no longer with us, but he was a Irish poet, philosopher, priest, and he's just has a way with words that really speak to me, and I hope it speaks to you as well. And I think one of the greatest things that I receive from him when I receive his words is his ability to live in presence. And it's so easy, for us to get caught up with distraction, to step away from that which challenges us, which is so important to have moments where you're not stressed. I'm a big believer in distraction sometimes, right? It can be very helpful. But I think if we stay in that distracted place, we miss so much, right? We just can miss so much of the true richness of life. And especially when things are challenging, it's important to, you see all these people with resist t-shirts and all the things, and really resist the urge within you to lose hope. Resist the urge to just pull yourself away, to distract yourself away, to move away from your pain or fear. And instead, I just really encourage you to come into it as best as you possibly can, to hold space for presence as much as you can. And this I read when I pull out his book for a while. I tend to read the morning matins. I think matins is a word that's used in the priesthood, I think. I don't know that for sure, but it's like the morning prayers. Um, and this is the morning matins that he's written. Somewhere out at the edges, the night is turning, and the waves of darkness begin to brighten the shores of dawn. The heavy dark falls back to earth, and the freed air goes wild with light. The heart fills with fresh, bright breath, and thoughts stir to give birth to color. I arise today in the name of silence, womb of the word, in the name of stillness, the home of belonging, in the name of solitude, of the soul and the earth. I arise today, blessed by all things, wings of breath, delight of eyes, wonder of whisper, intimacy of touch, eternity of soul, urgency of thought, miracle of health, embrace of God. May I live this day compassionate of heart, clear in word, gracious in awareness, courageous in thought, and generous in love. May I live this day compassionate of heart, clear in word, gracious in awareness, courageous in thought, and generous in love. So let your day begin with this sense of presence, to recognize our blessings, to set intentions for how we want to show up today. So as you find a comfortable posture, come into your breath. Relax your body as best as you can. Can you feel the brightness of the heart? Can you feel the deep gratitude for the blessing of our breath? The simple joy of being alive today and being able to experience the beauty of the world. And as you feel your body begin to come into that state of presence that we all experience in our yoga practice, this beautiful, beautiful present moment awareness. See what you can do to let your practice heighten this feeling within you so that whatever you touch today, whatever you experience today, you do it with presence. Bring the hands together. Let's offer an intention. What is your intention for the day? How do you want to show up in the world today? What can your practice do to support this within you? And then release your hands. Okay, let's find our way to our mat, stretching out and lengthening on the ground, feeling a sense of surrender on the ground. And give yourself a moment to drop your whole body. Can you feel the weight of you? Feel what touches the ground. Can you feel your heels? Can you feel your calves, the backs of your thighs, your buttocks, some part of your back, your shoulder blades, the backs of your arms, maybe your elbows or the backs of your hands. You can feel the back of your head. Everywhere that you're touching the ground, see if you can just give your weight and melt. And see if you can feel the earth holding you. So imagine for a moment that you are being held up, like you've seen those crowds of people at concerts where somebody's being held up by the crowd. Imagine that the earth is the crowd and that all the places where you touch the ground right now is the earth with its hand holding you and supporting you. Fill your breath, empty your breath. And then stretch your body, reach your arms overhead and give yourself a nice little waking stretch. Maybe the right side a little longer, maybe the left, and just enjoy the simplicity of just a little bit of movement in your body. And then draw your knees into your chest, relax on the ground, maybe a little bit of rocking to and fro, checking in with your back. Hang on to your knees and do some circling so we feel a sense of ease a couple of times each way. And then we'll open up our knees away from the middle and bring them back in and just enjoy the opening of your hips. Take stock. What's here today in your hip joints? Do they feel free? Do they feel not free? Do they feel symmetrical? Do they feel not symmetrical? And then right knee into your chest and move around in your ankles and wiggle your toes and say hello to your feet and wake them up. Again, we're still feeling the support underneath our head and underneath our shoulders. And we're going to open up our right knee. Bring your left foot onto the ground and open up your right knee into a half happy baby pose. And notice if you want to tip to the right, see if you can prevent that and find a sense of grounding. You can even butterfly your left knee out left a little bit to cantilever the weight. And just compress into that hip joint a little bit. And then walk your right foot over to the left. Hold your right foot in your left hand. Put your right hand on your knee. And with your leg in that external rotation, do some circling of the hip joint again. All right, and then we'll cross the right thigh over the left. draw your knees in and maybe give a couple of pulses so that we feel that opening through the backside of the glutes. And then we'll lift both legs straight up in the air. Arms come overhead and engage the core of the body. Knit the ribs down. Let's flex and point your feet up here in the air. So you just maybe look at your feet. Are they doing the same thing? Or are they doing something slightly different? It's kind of, I don't know if it's unusual or not, but my feet don't look exactly the same when I point and flex and point them. So just notice if that's true for you. And let's give some rolls through our ankles while we're here. Keep integrating the core. And then we'll slowly lower the legs down toward the ground. You can bend your knees at any moment. And once you're down there on the ground, melt into the support one more time. Bring your left knee into your chest and give a good compression of that hip and knee. Maybe you want to keep moving your feet around and still feel the opening through your, your peroneal muscles and your calves, your ankles, whatever feels good. And then we'll take a half happy baby on this side. So bend your right knee, put your right foot on the ground, grab onto your left foot, and let's compress that knee down toward the ground and try to keep your pelvis as balanced as you can in this pose. Relax your head down toward the ground. And then we'll cross the left foot over to the right. Hold your left foot in your right hand. Press your left hand into the inner knee. And let's go ahead and roll through the hip joint while your leg is in a little bit of an external rotation. So there's no rules, just kind of find some range of motion that's available in the hip. And then we'll cross that left thigh over the right thigh, drawing the knees in toward the chest. And then again, we'll lift the legs straight up in the air, arms overhead. You can always have them down at your sides instead if that's better. Flex and point and roll and do whatever you want with your feet up there in the air. Integrate the core of your body, knit the ribs down toward the ground. And let's open the legs to a V, wide out in space, and then bring them back in. Finding your core while you're here. Let's open up the legs wide and bring them back in. And just notice that abduction in the hip joints. See if you notice symmetry in the hips as you do this, or maybe one leg feels like it's a little bit more open than the other. Stay integrated with your core the whole time. How's your breathing? All right, and then relax and grab onto both feet now. Both feet, happy baby. Maybe hold the backs of the knees if the feet are too far away. Maybe a little bit of rocking if that feels good in your body. Full breath. And then we'll straighten the left leg. You might find yourself tipping a little bit to the left. Open up that left leg to whatever way you can. Maybe it's not all the way straight. That's okay too. Opening up the inner thigh, the inner hamstring. And then we'll open up the other way. Straighten the right leg. Maybe a little tipping to the right if that feels right for your body. Maybe not. Okay, what feels good? And then release that last time, lifting the legs straight up, arms overhead, a little flexing, pointing, rolling. What do your feet want to do? And then we'll slowly lower the legs down toward the ground. Okay. Once you're down there, melt for a moment. Just let your body be held one more time. Stretch open to a starfish on the ground. Let's roll your wrists and your ankles. A deep breath in. Exhale, round the spine. Knees come up. One more time. Expanding open. Exhale. Drawing in. Feet come down onto the ground. Arms out to the side. Let's windshield wiper your knees left and right. Kind of waking up the twisting in your body, breathing here. And then to just experience a little internal rotation of the femur bone, drop your knees over left. Pick up your left foot and put it on the outside of your right knee. You can always wedge a block in underneath that left knee if you need a little extra support, if your back is a little disturbed. And just stretch into the front of your hip and stretch your right arm maybe up overhead or out, or imagine someone's pulling your right arm over your head. And then come back to neutral, 2 feet onto the ground. We'll find a little teeny bridge here. Lift up through your hips. And then we'll lower back down and we'll go to the other side, knocking the knees to the right. Pick up the right foot, put it on the outside of the left knee. Again, perhaps you need a block wedged in underneath your knee. Just kind of find what feels supportive. I find that to be very helpful for my back. So just experiment for you. Stretch that left arm up overhead and just notice if your two sides feel the same or different. Like, does the stretch feel more or less on this side? It's pretty rare for us to be symmetrical. Coming back to center, 2 feet onto the ground, and we'll just do a couple of rolling bridges. Ground your feet. Inhale, pelvis up, arms overhead. Engage through your glutes and your hamstrings, and then lower back down. Let's repeat that one more time. Feel the symmetry. Press into your feet, lift your hips, arms overhead, and then exhale and lower your arms and your pelvis back down. A little bit of movement or wiggle, maybe lift up your hips and give them a little bit of a shake if that feels good. Whatever feels right. And let's have one more star, reaching outward into space. Exhale, round the spine. Come rolling over to your side and come up. I always think to myself, it would be nice to do a yoga practice sometime where we'd never leave the floor, and maybe someday I'll teach that, but it always feels good to come off the floor as well. So let's find our way onto all fours and start to move through some cat-cows. Checking in with your breath, checking in with your spine. Remember to let your practice teach you the beautiful art of breath and presence. It matters so much less whether you can balance on one foot or wrap yourself into a pretzel or touch your toes. It matters so much more that you're embodied and breathing and knowing where your edges lie. All right, and then move around any which way that you want to move around. How does your spine feel? What kind of movement will make you feel better? Can you filter your breath through whatever you're doing? And then drop back to a child's pose and walk the hands out in front of you and stretch and lengthen. Walk the hands over to one side, feeling that reach through your body, dropping some weight. Over to the other side and feel that extension, breathing deeply. All right, and come back to center, come up to all fours. Let's find a twist, reaching an arm up in the air, maybe a wrist roll. Drop that shoulder down and enjoy what you're feeling. All right, then we'll reach that arm back up in the air, feeling that length. Hand comes down onto the ground. We'll switch sides. Arm up, let's roll your wrist here. And then we'll exhale and drop that shoulder down, twisting to the side. Gaze toward the ground. Feel your neck relax. Open up through your ribs and breathe. All right, and then reach your arm all the way back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground and we'll find a dog pose. So as you come on up and lengthen, take some time here to pedal your feet, maybe dropping one heel, dropping the other. Get to know your legs a little bit. Enjoy this pose. Melt through your face. Take a little time to relax through your cheeks, your eyes, your jaw, your tongue. Find the fullness of your breath again. And then we'll walk our feet forward, come to Uttanasana, forward fold. Relax here. Bend your knees as much as you want. Inhale for a halfway lift, getting some length in your spine. Let's pedal your feet here. Move your hip way back as you bend the opposite knee. So just get the outer hips to open up a little bit. And then ground yourself. Push through the feet, rising up, bringing the arms to the sky. Extend and open, maybe lean back a little bit. Let's cactus open the chest, spread your wings, and then exhale and round in chin to chest. Rising up again, big breath, spread your wings. Exhale and round in. Pause now and just notice how you feel. Are you a little more embodied? Are you a little more connected to the breath? Are you living in presence? Inhale with the breath, rise up. And then exhale, loading forward, relax your skull. A halfway lift, opening through your spine. Release and melt again. Step back to a dog pose one more time, feeling that extension in the body, reach. Full breaths here, feel the symmetry, ground. Remember the earth is holding you, so can you feel the ground underneath you? Take a little time to breathe here. And when you're ready, forward into a plank, shoulders over your wrists, shoulder blades down the back, engaged through the core of your body, pushing the ground away. And then we'll find our way down to the ground. Roll the shoulders a few times and then inhale for a cobra, chest open and broad. Exhale, melting back down. Again, rising up. Exhale, releasing back down. Let's try one more time. This time, hover your hands off the ground, engage the back of your body. Find your core again, elbows reaching toward your hips, and then melt to fold. Come up onto all fours, move your spine around, wag your tail a little bit. Staying on all fours or fists on the ground or forearms on blocks, whatever works. Let's stretch the left leg straight back behind you and find your core. Right arm out in front of you and integrate. Take the arm and leg out to the side and see if you can plug back into the center of the body. Toes down, thumbs up. Okay, back to neutral. Place the hand down, keep the leg up, and do some big circles with that hip. So Just enjoy some big range of motion. The core staying connected to what we're doing. And then release that down. Come back onto your shins. Give your hands a little bit of a shake. Inhale up onto your knees, arms up. Exhale back down onto the ground. Switch legs. Okay, bring your right leg up in the air, left arm out in front of you. Integrate into the core. When you feel ready, we'll take the leg and the arm out to the side and plug back into the center. Toes down, thumb up, look down, keep breathing. Head back to neutral, place the hand down, re-ground your hands, and let's do some big circles with that knee and hip joint. So just kind of getting into some range of motion in your hip. Okay. And then when bring that knee back down, take your knees really wide and come into a super duper wide child's pose. So just kind of spread your knees out, drop your sit bones back. Okay. And come back up on tall fours. If you're not turned sideways on your mat, turn sideways on your mat. And we're going to take this pose a little deeper. If you're on a wood floor with a mat, I would recommend doubling up some mat underneath your knees. So have your knees and your feet, your ankles on the same line. And we're going to just slightly go forward with our chest and back. So I'll show this from the side if you're at all confused. We're nice and wide with our legs. Our feet and our knees are on the same plane, our ankles and our knees, and we're just going to be rocking forward and back. And then when you feel ready, we'll drop back into frog pose, just however your hips will allow. So we're trying to find symmetry here. Check in with your pelvis. There's core engagement. Drop onto your forearms, perhaps, and start to settle your hips back to whatever place they go. The feet are flexed. We're resting on the inside of our ankles and the inside of our knees. Full breaths in, full breaths out. Kind of challenging that abduction of the legs and the external rotation of the legs. And then slide forward, straighten your legs out, even if you're weird on the mat, just go ahead and do it. And then pick up your feet and windshield wiper your knees. Just let your hips relax here. Enjoy the internal rotation as it happens. And then feet straight up, and we're going to internally rotate both legs. So that's going to mean your feet fall out to the sides. Breathe here. Keep your head down. All right, and then feet back to neutral. Straighten your legs. Come up onto the floor, onto hands and knees. Reorient yourself on your mat if you need. Maybe a cat-cow, just find your way back to some neutral legs. We'll eventually curl the toes under and lift to a dog pose. Enjoy the fact that your legs are not spread out wide, the ease of neutral. Pedal your feet if you'd like. And then we'll walk our feet forward. Come to Uttanasana and bend fairly deeply. Relax your head. Push through your feet, rising up, arms to the sky. And then trace down through the center line of the body and just pause here for a moment in Tadasana. Probably your hips feel a little different than they did before, so just notice sensation. Unlock your knees and ground your feet on the earth. Inhale, lift your arms. And as we exhale, we'll fold. A halfway lift. Breathing in, open the backs of the legs. Release on the exhale. Step your left foot back, find a lunge. Enjoy. And let's do what we often do, where we bend and straighten the knee. What an opportunity to come back into presence. If you kind of lost sight of your breath or lost sight of what's happening right now, if you got trapped somewhere else, bring yourself home. It's amazing how when we really police our mind and notice, we can travel all over the place in a split second. So just keep gently, with grace, with tenderness, with compassion. Keep bringing yourself back to this moment. All right, ground your back knee onto the earth. Enjoy this deeper lunge. We'll rise up, bringing the left arm up to the sky. Maybe the hand on your knee, maybe on a block, maybe a little stretching over. Just kind of find what feels right for you. And we'll eventually all move our way into a twist where our forearm or our elbow or our hand comes onto our thigh. Twisting to the right, opening up through the hip flexor on the back of that, or the front of that back leg. How's your breath? Coming back to the center, come back with that front foot, child's pose. Bring your knees close together this time and just let your hips relax into the compression. Keep breathing. And then we'll change and bring our left foot in front. Okay. Lift your back knee up off the ground. Again, finding breath, finding presence as you bend and straighten through the front knee. Oh, so slow. So you can give yourself some time to stay in presence with yourself. And then drop your back knee to the earth. You can curl your toes under or lay them flat, whichever feels good. Press through the feet, rising up. Breathing, reaching that arm up to the sky. Press into the ground. Open heart. And then we'll either maybe have a little extension through the side. You know, what feels good. Bring yourself into what feels good. And then eventually we'll meet over into a twist. So forearm or elbow or hand on your knee. Remember to stabilize yourself. So our legs are engaged. Press the earth. Hug to the midline. Use that left hand to support on your thigh to keep your spine spacious. And then discover your breath. All right, coming back out of there. Let's go ahead and bring our hands onto the ground, back to a dog pose, neutral legs. And let's open up our legs to the edges of the mat. Turn your toes in, a little internal rotation. A full breath here. And then walk your feet forward. Come to an Uttanasana and then stand on up. Let's take a wide stance sideways on your mats. Turn your legs out, wide legs. Let's come into the deep squat we almost always do to warm up. And notice if your body's already like, oh, I've been here, I've done this. Okay, so just notice what feels maybe different. Okay, are you feeling symmetrical through your pelvis? Okay. Ground through your feet, rising up, a standing star. Okay. And then heel toe your feet in and come to neutral. Okay, we're going to do something a little different. So instead of kind of coming into the static nature of a standing pose, we're going to do a little balance and a little lateral movement. So hopefully you're warmed up for this. So we're going to come, so you might want to start, we're going to do each side maybe 5 times. We'll do 5 times. So bring yourself to the edge of the mat so you have room. And we're going to come out and down into a side lunge. So we'll come down into this lunge. And then when we come back up, we're going to lift the knee. So you can do this in a couple of different ways. Watch me for a moment. You can come to the lunge and then hop right back up, and then come to the lunge and hop. Or if your balance is like, no, thank you, you can come to the lunge and kind of drag your foot slowly and lift it up, and then come back. I think that's a good way. And then also you could just stand up wide legs and walk your foot in and lift your knee. Okay, so you do you. Take your time with this. We'll do both sides, but let's just start with 5 on this side. So we're coming into a wide lunge and then coming back. Ooh, I did this earlier and it wasn't as hard as it is now. Okay, so wide squat, maybe a foot drag and a knee lift. You choose the pathway for you. I'm enjoying the foot drag. That's my choice. I don't know what your choice is, but move slow enough where you can stay in the groundedness of this pose. All right, I lost count of course, because I'm not good at counting. So once you've done 5, we'll end in the knee lift and just pause in this balance for a moment. And then lower that leg back down and pause in Tadasana. Bring your arms down. Find your breath. So much of the day we move forward. We're walking, we're doing all the things forward in motion. And we sometimes forget about all this space on the sides of us, this laterally moving space, which is so important for our sense of balance to have good lateral movements. Slide yourself to the other side of the mat. And again, maybe have a little practice run, knowing that we're going to come into a bent knee and then maybe slide the toes and lift the knee up. Maybe you're feeling really strong and capable and you can just hop right up without this slide. Maybe you're coming into the lunge, widening your legs and stepping in, and then bring your knee up. So your choice. This side might feel very different from the other side, so just notice that as well. Palms together. Take a deep breath and feel the groundedness of your feet before we begin. All right, so you do 5 on your pace. We'll come down to a squat and then maybe over and lift the knee. You choose how you go into this. Don't worry if your balance is all over the map. This is what happens sometimes when we challenge ourselves. When you lift that knee, that left leg needs to be very stable. Use your core. Use your breath. All right, and after you've done 5, we'll hang out in the balance for a moment. Hug that hip in, lift the chest, finding your breath. And then we'll put your foot down and just pause. In Tadasana, notice the warmness in your hips, the sense of energy moving within you. After the mobility, it might feel really good to do a standing pose where we're nice and stable. Okay, so first just feel the ground. And then we'll take some wide legs and turn your right foot out. Arms up, deep breath. Viratu. And so find the magic of this pose is the fact that you can both ground yourself and feel spacious. And there's also a lot happening in your legs. You have some abduction, some external rotation, and even some flexion of that hip. So just notice the dynamic nature of this pose in your body. Breathing deeply. So even though there's stillness, there's a lot of dynamic energy moving in your body. And we'll reverse the warrior, reach your arm up, and then we'll come down into a Parsva Konasana and stretch open. Breathe full and deep. And then we'll come back up. Stand in neutral for a moment. And then we'll turn our left foot out. Okay, so remember your pose can be shallow like this. You don't have to go super deep. You get to be where you are best. Supported, self-supporting. Arms up, deep breath. Exhale, Virabhadrasana. Drop the shoulders. Feel the heart extend out to the hands. Feel the magic of both grounding yourself and expanding yourself. How's your breath living in your body? Are you tired? That's okay. See if you can be here even if you are tired. Let your breath support you. Let the earth support you. And then we'll reverse the warrior and stretch open. Feel free to straighten your leg for a moment if you need. And then we'll come to a Parsva Konasana. Round into your legs. Notice if the openness of your hips feels different, even if the effort feels a lot, is the openness there? How's your breath? How's the sense of ground underneath you? All right, come out of that pose. Heel toe your feet in and out. You get back to that neutral place and feel how nice it feels to just have your legs in a neutral plane. If you want to give yourself a little jiggle, wiggle, bounce, you can do that. And then just enjoy the fact that your legs are underneath your torso, that you're not as wide out there in space. They're a little more contained, a little more collected. Feel the center line of your body from your crown down through your spine, your tail, right to the center of the earth. Okay, deep breath in, rising up. Exhale, loading forward, your back opens. A halfway lift, extending. Exhale, melting. Enjoy the hamstring stretch. Let's bring our hands down and come to a dog. Full breaths here. And then we'll come forward into a plank. Enjoy the neutral body. Press into the ground. All right. Find the earth. Inhale to any variation. Maybe you want to do a super person. Maybe you're in an up dog vibe today. Maybe the cobra. Just find your favorite back bend. And then we'll release to the ground. Pick up your left knee and draw it in toward your chest and just enjoy that compression. Imagine someone's hand is on top of that hip, pressing it gently into the ground. And then we'll turn this into a twist. Cross the arm over or under you and roll open. Find your breath, find your presence. And then we'll roll back to the center and switch sides. Bring that knee up, pause here for a moment. So you just feel that groundedness in your hip. Imagine someone's weight coming down onto your hip. And then when you feel ready, we'll roll open to the twist. So take the left arm under you and then roll open, bringing your right hand onto the ground behind you. Rest your head. A deep breath in, deep breath out. All right, come back onto your front. Keep your knees close together, child's pose. You can separate them a little bit if you want, but just don't do a super wide-legged pose right now. Open up your back. Relax here. And then we're going to come up. One more deep thing for the hips. Okay, so we're going to take a blanket. I'm going to put the skinny, so instead of, laying on it or sitting on it like this, I'm going to sit on the edge of it. So a skinny little edge of the blanket. And we're going to start with a twist and we're going to move into a hip stretch. So we're going to get grounded. So left foot next to right hip. And then our right leg, bent knee, put your foot over on the outside of your knee. Okay, so how we would be for a twist. Drop into your sit bones evenly. Try not to list over to the left. Center that right sit bone down as much as the left. And relax your left leg. Just see if you can relax it into that position. Reach your left arm up in the air. Maybe your hand comes to the outer knee. Maybe your forearm wraps a knee. Maybe your elbow comes to the outer knee. Find your way into the twist. Evenness through your sit bones. The exhales are the obliques working with the breath. All right, now we're going to come out of here. And this to me is where the rub is, right? So we're going to pull your left foot out a little bit further. Try to get your left and your right foot to stack up on the same line in front of you. And stack your knees as best as you can. I can't stack them all the way, but I'm going as far as I can. And then ground into both sit bones. Try not to list off to the left again. Ground into both sit bones. Now, for me, this feels almost enough just being here. It's a very big stretch for the TFL, the IT band. There's a lot of fascial stretching going on in my hips. My hips are in a deep rotation. But if I have anything more to give, maybe you do too, I'm going to lift up through my spine and come forward. Now, you can have hands on blocks like I'm doing. You can put your hands on your feet. You can do anything, but try not to roll back on your sacrum and crouch down. See if you can stay on the center of the sit bones, lift up and forward. This is a very intense stretch for me. I don't know how it's feeling in your hips, but this is big. So let yourself breathe. And then try leaning back. Bring your hands behind you and just send your knees, let them fall. All right, and then to get out of there, take a moment, straighten your legs. Give your legs a good wobble. You can even take them a little wider and just wobble from your hip joints. Release tension. Sometimes I even take my hands and kind of rub on my outer thighs, starting at my hips and kind of rocking my IT bands all the way down to my knees. So you kind of find what feels good. And then, of course, we have a second side to do. Yay, we have a second side to do. Okay, so now our left foot is going to be on the outside, or I'm sorry, our right foot's going to be on the outside of our left knee, or left hip. Take your left leg, cross it over your right, and put your left foot on the ground next to your right knee. And of course, if you can't do this, there's always ways to modify. You can pull that leg out and do a reverse pigeon with your hands on the ground. There's lots of things. So find the variation that works for you. If you find yourself listing way off to the left, maybe you just need to unwind this bottom leg, your right leg, and straighten it out. Okay, so find what works for your body. Don't pretzel yourself just for the sake of attempting to do a yoga pose. We always want to seek ground. We want to seek breath. We want to seek that balance of stability and ease, freedom in the body, freedom in the breath. Root your sit bones. Okay, find the twist. Maybe your hand comes to the knee. Maybe your forearm comes to the knee. Maybe your elbow comes to the knee. Your hand behind you supports. Lift your spine and make the breath work with you and for you. So the exhales are where the deeper twisting happens. Move the ribs on the exhale. Drop into both sit bones. Keep the breath. Relax the face. Drop the shoulders. Does this side feel the same, different? We'll come out of there. Bring the feet to that straight line if you can, stacking your feet on a line in front of you, stacking your knees on top of each other if you can, or as close there too. Try not to list off to the side, ground through both sit bones. Lift your spine and come forward if that's available. You might have enough going on just trying to stay upright and not slouching. Okay, so just find what's available. Drop your hip, relax what you can. Breathing deeply, focus on your breath, relax on your exhales. Okay, and then we'll come out of there and lean back a little bit, hands behind you a bit so you're supporting, lift your chest. Try not to arch your back a lot. Relax through your spine and let your legs soften toward the ground. And then we'll find our way out of there. Straighten your legs again. This is big work in your hips. Big work in your hips today. Take your legs not super wide, but not super narrow. Just find a comfortable place and rock your legs. And again, you can kind of rub your hips a little bit and maybe rock your hands and rub them down your IT bands to see what feels nice for you. And then we'll relax that, come onto your back. We're going to take a low block under your sacrum, rest in neutral. You can straighten your legs if that feels good, wider legs if that feels good, feet on the ground if that feels good. Let your hips relax and let your sacrum feel the balancing of this pose where we're coming back to neutral territory.
Sometimes I even like to rock my legs, just like we were just doing a moment ago, but in this pose with my legs straight. You choose what feels good. Follow your intuition. All right, and then knees in toward your chest, knees close. Bring them together. And then we'll lift our legs straight up in the air and let gravity do its work. And then we'll lower our feet down, get the block out of there. Almost time for Shavasana. If you'd like, you can go right to Shavasana. If your hips still need a little love, we can rock our knees to the left, pick up the left foot and put it on the outside of your knee like we did in the beginning, to find that internal rotation after doing all that external rotation work. But maybe you don't need that. Maybe you just rather just come into Shavasana and let sleeping dogs lie. Let your legs kind of surrender. Okay, but if you're in the twist, make sure you have a couple breaths on each side. All right, and then rest yourself. And if you want to do a little wiggle woggle with your legs, if you want to support underneath your knees, if you'd rather have your calves up on a chair or your legs up a wall, just kind of find what's most supportive for your body and just let your body rest. Deep breath in, a full, complete breath out. Begin to deepen our breathing. Melt your body. Can you feel the support of the earth one more time? Find your way out of Shavasana very gently, very slowly. Taking your time for small movements, big movements. And as you come to a comfortable seat, take a moment to ground yourself again, to feel what your body feels, to feel your breath. I arise today blessed by all things, wings of breath, delight of eyes, wonder of whisper, intimacy of touch, eternity of soul, urgency of thought, miracle of health, embrace of God. May I live this day compassionate of heart, clear in word, gracious in awareness, courageous in thought, and generous in love. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.